Until date, only 2% of VC funds go to women. So we do have a long way to go. Never take no for an answer. Say yes to as many opportunities as you can, because recognize that we don't do this alone. We really do need a community. So to not be afraid to own your presence, to not be afraid to take up space.
Welcome to Yana TV, and today with us in the studio we have Loretta Chen, who is the founder of Smobler. And Loretta, you and I know each other for so many years. I think the first interview with you I did in 2015, and at the time you were not married. I didn't have a baby, so you got married, I had a baby, we opened various companies, and today I'm just so excited to hear what happened in the last few years in your life professionally.
So I think when I appeared on your show, I was appearing as an author, a media personality, and now I actually am the founder of a tech gaming company. It's called Smobler, as you rightly said, and I am now actually in town promoting my new event. It's called Nova, and it would be held over Token 2049 and the F1 season.
And I'm looking forward to also attending it, because I looked at the program and it just looked amazing. However, before we get to this part, what I would like to know is, how did you move from everything what you were doing before to suddenly running a gaming or Metaverse? Is an entirely different industry compared to speaking, writing, and teaching.
That's true. I mean, long story short, it was founded over COVID, right? Because I saw that it's an opportunity to provide jobs for creators, especially creators who lost their job over COVID. And so I wanted to create a platform that allows for creatives to be able to create and own their own assets. So that was how it started. But I think the transition really started, talking of motherhood, right? So Mother was really written over COVID, because I was really afraid that I wouldn't see my mother again, because she was already 85 years old when COVID happened. And this is during, the darkest depths of COVID, when you're seeing bodies being pulled out of New York City flats and into ice trucks. And so I wanted to be a tribute to my own mother, but I didn't want to be navel gazing, because I did write my autobiography and she was in it. So what I wanted to do was to pay tribute to other mothers, hence Mother, alternative modalities of motherhood. So celebrated single moms, adopted moms, or adoptive moms, foster moms, incarcerated moms. We also celebrated rape survivor moms, LGBTQIA moms, transgender dads, lesbian moms. Really the whole spectrum. Fundamentally, we wanted to give voices to alternative mothers that usually don't have their voices being heard. It's wonderful that you're a mother. We celebrate your joy.
Like in a traditional way, right?
We celebrate your joy, but yet there are a lot of mothers whose stories go unheard and uncelebrated. So I really wanted to give a platform for these voices that don't tend to get much media coverage or any sort of, even compassion about what they go through. For example, domestic worker moms who come here and they take care of other people's kids. Yeah. Some of them are male and transgender. Like I said, some of them are rape survivor and some of them are teenage moms. And so just giving them the opportunity, as you are, giving them a platform to speak, was so therapeutic for them. Yeah. So in many ways, for a lot of them, no one has ever asked their story. So to be given the time and space to be able to express is really amazing. And just one final note, all proceeds of the book goes towards the family of Jocelyn, because she has since passed away. She actually suffered from postnatal depression, and she's always wanted me to share that at any point in time when I do give a media interview, to celebrate her story. Also, she wanted everyone and every audience to know that postnatal depression is real, because she really suffered tremendously from postnatal depression and she felt very, very lonely. But on paper, what she eventually passed away from is cancer. Mm-hmm. But she's always said that she received more support from cancer than she did when she was going through postnatal. So anyway, this book is written in memory of her, and all proceeds of the book goes towards her two beautiful daughters. Surviving daughters. Yeah.
And on this note, since Yana TV is a socially responsible platform, I actually also would like to say we're going to include the link in the description, and I would encourage the audience to please go ahead, support the book, knowing that you're also supporting two girls who lost their mom and just promoting this incredible work, because I think it is very important. You're right. And even for me, I came into motherhood in my 40s, right? And when I also talk to women, and it's a big conversation. It's huge these days when it comes to biological children. So many cannot have for a variety of reasons, cannot conceive, too late, the right partner, not enough money to raise a child, or there are all kind of other circumstances, but really want. And it's quite heartbreaking, so that there are all kind of other aspects of motherhood that need to be celebrated. And I remember for me, even before I came into this like a very traditional biological experience of being a mom, I did wonder for many years if I choose ever, maybe not to have children in this lifetime, am I a woman enough, right? Does it make, what happens to my motherly role? So am I sort of realized enough in that sense? And I know that many women ask themselves this question. So thank you for just showing different perspectives on that.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, absolutely. And I became a geriatric mom.
Yeah.
At 45, I was already a mother to 23 fur babies. I think everybody knows that. I go on record.
I didn't know 23.
23 fur babies, and actually, as I speak, I have 18 biological fur babies. 18 biological fur babies. 5 of them are my adoptive foster babies, and I just found homes for them. But 18 biological fur babies, and then 10 more that I keep and give hugs and pets and love who live outside my house. But I also became a geriatric mom to Smobler at 45, and Smobler was birthed over COVID because it really was a response to a call for help from one of my ex-staff who lost his job over COVID. He has an autistic son, and he was down to his last $70. And he called me for help. And again, it just started with me just responding to a call, my altruistic bleeding heart. And what started as a project to help out a fellow creator over COVID has now become my career that has completely and utterly consumed me for the last 4 years. So I thank you for this opportunity to be here to share what I do now as mummy of Smobler, a Metaverse gaming company.
How was this experience for you?
I think it's been such an eye-opener. I've always been a serial entrepreneur, a media personality. So I'm no stranger to being an entrepreneur, but I must say that the tech space is very different. It moves really, really fast. It is male-dominated. But I will say that the Web3 space, or the space that we're co-creating now in the next phase of the internet, is very inviting. It really draws very innovative, enterprising individuals that want to come into this space to co-create the future revolution of gaming and internet. And so this space, I will say, is slightly different or slightly differentiated from your older tech company in that while it is still male-dominated, you're seeing a lot of men who are very open, who are more woke, who are more Gen Z. They probably grew up gaming, and they probably also grew up recognizing that they want to hopefully fix the ails of what they've witnessed in their own households and families. And so I do find myself surrounded by very sweet and well-mannered young men, that I'm learning a lot from. So it's been a very interesting space.
Well, I would like to hear now, what are the main challenges when you're actually running?
I think first off, a startup is like being a mom, right? You have to do so many things all at once. You need to care for your immediate baby, but you also need to ensure that you have an ecosystem. And the ecosystem that we have right now, I think, without going to too much convoluted detail, the Web3 and Metaverse and crypto space has been marked by quite a lot of scams, very high profile scams, high profile folks who have not been the most honest in their dealings, as with any new space. But because we are living in a social media space where everyone is a social media platform, I think a lot of the bad actors get pushed in the forefront of media, right?
And maybe good things not celebrated enough.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. And so that's why I appreciate you for this opportunity to sit here to explain what this space is. And fundamentally, Smobler is making changes, right? Within our company alone, we're often promoting women. The key personnel in our team, from head of communications to head of studio to chief of staff, a lot of them are all run by women. We're also creating games and content that promote women. So just case in point, one of our games is called Everest, which was launched last year to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the first ascent of Mount Everest 70 years ago by Sir Edmund Hillary. So what we did was that we created a game which was sticky and fun, but there's an educational element because it's not just about climbing, but it's also about climate change. It's also about environmental wellness and conservation. It's also about ensuring that we understand the culture of the Sherpa people, and we ensured we work with Wasfia Nazreen, who's the first brown woman to scale all 7 summits of the world. So we actually turned her into like a role model. And And so as a female-founded company, I truly want to start creating content that, can make daughters and all our women here on set feel proud. Like, this is a game that I can own and I can understand that I'm not just a peripheral NPC. I'm actually part of the core story and narrative of the game. And so that's also what is one of the motives that I'm drawn to creating for Smobler.
So basically, you're bringing more consciousness into the online world, whether it is Metaverse or gaming or anything else, related to the online experiences. So just to make it educational, to make it fun, to make it inclusive. So it's like showing, duplicating the society, but in a good way.
Exactly.
I like that.
Exactly. And really, I feel like, children can't be what they can't see. Many of us now spend so much time on our devices. We say that, oh, come on, kids and youths and young people, don't be on your devices. It's impossible, right? And so I think it's important to, if I may have an ability to create a force for good, a tech for good, a metaverse for good, I want to be able to create stories, narratives, games that empower and enlighten and uplift a community.
I love it. Talking about women in business, and let's especially part about attracting VC and attracting just support, from the business people, mostly of whom are men. Like, I know that in any startup scene, and particularly in the tech, there are not many female founders or like a female fully, run companies where women are in leadership position, but also about actually getting proper funding. Maybe just talk a bit more about this. How did you guys, from my understanding, you are funded. So how did you manage to do this?
You are so absolutely right. I mean, until date, only 2% of VC funds go to women.
It's scary.
It is very scary. And so first off, I do feel incredibly fortunate to have been able to make that 2%. I hope one day it'll be normalized and we don't have to say female founder the way
just
we say
founder event.
Founder, right? And
Yeah.
we don't have to say male nurse and female doctor, right? That's just normalized as a doctor, it's nurse. And so I'll be going to a female founder event. I'm really thankful also for very sort of woke companies like UBS, who has actually created a female founder program. So I'm part of the UBS female founder program, AWS Tiger Hall female founder program. There's so many big corporations that have taken a stand to say we really need to see more female founders. So for now, even though it's not normalized, I really appreciate the intentions, and I've been really blessed to have been, a top female founder in a lot of these global events. And so every time I go out there and I pitch and I speak, I feel like I'm doing it for all of us, right? And so I do work really hard and ensure that I don't let all my sisters down, because I also feel like I'm standing on the shoulders of women who have come before us, who have charted the territory and broken glass ceilings. We appreciate the opportunities we have today, seated across each other, talking about women empowerment. But to your point, there is still a long way to go. Like I said, I think collectively, I'm looking at all the women here who are helping us behind the scenes as well, that collectively we still must uplift and empower, because statistics still show that only 2% of funding go to women. So we do have a long way to go.
For those women who actually would love to be in those 2%, do you feel from your experience, are there any particular tips that you could share that would help?
Absolutely. I think to never take no for an answer. Say yes to as many opportunities as you can. So, to your point, it doesn't matter how busy I am. First off, it's always a pleasure to be here on the couch with you, to see you. But be appreciative of opportunities that come, right? Because recognize that we don't do this alone. We really do need a community. We really do need a village. Every sort of gesture, every sort of media platform that even you're providing is important. The ability to be able to speak up for yourself, the more you do it, the better you get at it. So to not be afraid to own your presence, to not be afraid to take up space. And a lot of women will say, oh, I'm not good enough. And by the time you get them to do it, you realize they're really overqualified for the role. And for men, they're like, oh, I can do this.
And
right?
then you realize they can't. No offense, but it happens often.
We love our male allies.
Yes,
we really do. But my point is, there is a disparity in confidence. So I do think that women should dare to take up space, not be afraid to ask for help, not be afraid to ask for support. But also, I think if having mentors, role models, a community is truly important. And so that's why every chance that I get, if I'm asked to mentor or coach, I often always will do it in the same way that I will also say that, hey, I'm learning and I want to learn as well, because there's always so much to learn from, right?
Absolutely. And now if you're listening and you're like, yeah, I want to learn from Loretta, make sure you check out the description of the video, because we're going to have all the links there how you can connect with her. If you think about all the women you have ever met in your life, let's say from living women that you met, let's not hypothetical, someone who you know, who was your biggest inspiration and why?
The cop-out answer would be mom, because she breathed life into me and she imbued me with all the values that I live by. But if someone else living, I would say two, or three or four or five, but if I had to say two, one would be Hillary Clinton, because I feel like she has gone through such a lifetime where she has tried to break the highest glass ceiling and still won the popular vote and still did not make it as the first female president of the United States. So I'm saying this because I'm really hoping that finally, I'm living the bluest state in America. I'm really hoping that we can see a female president for the first time in the United States. So that's folks will probably know where my convictions and my vote will go, even though I can't vote. So that's one. But two would be Maya Soetoro. She's actually President Obama's sister, who's become one of my bestest friends. I think for Maya, it's her humility, her gentleness, her Mother Earth nature that I've always espoused. And every time I go back home to Hawaii, she'll be one of the first friends that I want to hug, and I'll be like, Maya, I want to hug, you know. And she has no airs. It doesn't matter that she's President Obama's sister. To me, she's just my friend Maya, who lives down the street from me in Hawaii. So I'll say these two women, one for their ambition and grit and determination, and the other for her humility, her joy, and her sense of love.
I love it, and it is such a beautiful synchronicity. And this is what I try to do my best, to bring people here who I feel we are all aligned. We might be different fields, we're doing, different things, but we're all walking in the same direction of creating a more conscious, more inclusive society where we actually have more opportunities equally, and then create something that we are proud for our children to pass on to. Loretta, thank you so much for showing up today.
Thank you, Yana. Thank you.
And that was Loretta Chen on Yana TV, and we talked about women empowerment and motherhood, unconventional motherhood, all different ways how you can become a mother even without giving birth to a biological child, about a Metaverse and her company and the pioneering space that she's doing right now as a female founder. I truly hope that you enjoyed the interview, and we have a lot of perks for you in the description. Check it out, and I see you next time. My daughter's name is also Maya. This is what I was thinking to myself right now. How incredible
is that? Is like bringing tears to my eyes. And we didn't plan this.
We didn't plan this. I didn't even know you were going to bring it up.
No, I didn't know you were going to ask that question either.
You see? But it just amazes me each time when you are aligned.